Buddy, JD here. Thanks for tuning in again. It is episode 9, I believe, of Fish with JD TV. Appreciate you guys coming. We have a great show tonight. So please hit subscribe. And then also, if you have any questions for the guests tonight, feel free to, in your comment section on the YouTube or Facebook feeds, just down in the comments, you can comment live, ask questions, and we'll try to get to them as soon as we can. So it is ladies' night tonight. This is going to be really cool. We have two young women in the up-and-coming women in the fishing world, and we're going to get to them. So that will be awesome. What else? We got a contest coming up pretty soon. It's not starting this week. Starting next week, we're going to have a Douglas Rod contest. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be pretty awesome. And what else? I've been doing a little fishing, and my video I see hasn't uploaded yet, so we won't show that yet. But anyway, I was going to do tip of the day, the tip of the week, actually. But the video didn't upload yet. So, oh, there's
just random people showing up. Apologies.
there's our guy behind the scenes, my brother. Oh, I love it. It's just such a gong show every week here. So speaking of Gareth, when that video pops up, let me know and we'll show that. So anyway, thanks for tuning in again. It's great to have you all. Still doing the COVID thing, all that good stuff. Sounds like things are opening up a little bit, and we'll have to talk to these ladies and see what they've been up to. So let's get into the topic of the evening, which is women in fishing. Now, this is a topic it's pretty interesting to me because this is a whole new segment of the population that is getting into the sport. And so we're going to bring in two of my favorites. We got Kaiser. How are you doing, Kat?
Hi.
And then we have Kylie. Vroman. Hi.
Hi.
Have you guys both here. And oh, hang on, back up, just because this is a goofy show. I'm going to put you guys back in the green room for a second because my video's up. So we're going to do the tip of the week. So stand by. Oh, he's such a gong show. But anyway, so the tip of the week. So I went out fishing the other day and did some trolling. And so trolling night crawl on the surface. The water was 56 degrees and just trolling a little dodger and a crawler, good old-fashioned trout killing rig. And it worked because I have fish in the smoker right now, by the way. But I was trolling, and again, on the surface, just top lining, and that dodger's kind of thumping the rod, right? As you're going along, do. And every once in a while, I get this, bang, real quick, and then gone, and think, I wonder if he just hit my worm or something. And I got plenty to stick, but there were several of those that would just kind of go whack. So let me show you what I found out with my underwater camera. It was quite the opposite of what I thought. So, as you can see, I was totally wrong about the fish eating, just hitting the worm a little bit. They were hitting the dang Dodger. So, unfortunately, I did not have that information available to me until after I went fishing, right? So, the conclusion I made for next time is one thing you could do, shorten the length of your leader, because obviously they're attracted to that flasher, and if the worm's too far behind them, they're not even seeing it. I mean, again, I caught plenty of fish, but it looks like I could have caught plenty more. The other thing I was thinking about is running a little smaller spoon. Obviously, that little step sidekick isn't a huge Dodger, but maybe you throw a little, that was a copper and pink, maybe they like that color, just a little spoon on there behind a Dodger or not. I'm not sure. I'll have to test that out, but that was kind of eye-opening, and that's why I love that underwater video so much. It's just it's really cool to see all that stuff that's going on that you'd never know. And there was some footage that I didn't put in there of a lot of fish that followed it and never hit either one. And you think, you're trolling for whatever, half hour, and like, maybe I need to move locations or something. I'm not getting bit. Well, it turns out there were plenty of fish around. They just, for whatever reason, weren't always biting. So, and I find that almost every time I take the camera out, there's a lot of stuff that goes on that you'd never know. I mean, there's tons of times you get bit and you never even realized it. So anyway, that's the tip of the week. If you're out there trolling a worm, shorten that leader or maybe go with a little smaller spoon. Anyway, on to more pressing and interesting matters. We have our ladies, and we're going to bring them back in. So let's get Kat and Kylie back in, and we'll see how Kylie's Wi-Fi is doing out there in the middle of nowhere, Washington. Well, give me the name of the town again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're. So, all right. Well, we'll see how it goes. So, we may have you if it's funky, Kylie. We'll just have you call in, and unfortunately, not have you on the screen. But although you said your phone service doesn't work that well either, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, so I wanted to get into this whole women in fishing thing, and I think it's a really fascinating topic. And I just found a little study here and a couple interesting factoids. So women represent the largest emerging market in the fishing world, which I thought was really, really cool. So the females are getting more and more into it. And it's funny because when I think about, of course, there wasn't Facebook and all that stuff when I was a kid growing up fishing, but it didn't seem like that many girls of my age were into it. In fact, I remember, so there was a creek by our house, and when I was in high school, and there were two gals, Nani Fitzpatrick and Leslie Sherratt, who were like, oh my God, they're so hot. And me and my buddy were fishing, and they happened to walk down the street because they lived up the road. And we both threw our fishing rods in the bushes because we were embarrassed. So it appears like that's not the case anymore, which is really cool. So I'm glad to hear that stat that you guys are the largest emerging new market in fishing. But what's interesting is we're still at what was the number here? 67% of the fishing population is still male, and it sounds like that's growing, but we're still at 33% female. And so my question is, do you guys have any idea why? I mean, what's behind that?
I think a lot of ladies are, I think it's boring until you catch that fish, actually. Yeah. I think a lot of girls have been traumatized by going out and sitting for hours and hours and waiting, and that's kind of their memories. But the more fish they catch, I think the more excited and interested they get.
Yeah. How about you, Kyle?
For me, getting started, it's really intimidating because it has been such a male-dominated sport for so long that it's a little scary to kind of ask for help or ask for what gear you should buy, where you should go fishing. So you kind of just have to have the confidence to get out there and do it. And that's not always easy for everyone.
Well, and that kind of jumps me ahead to one of the questions I had for you guys later, but you kind of segued into it. And how has it been getting into, and Kat, when did you get into fishing before I get to this question? What got you into it?
I grew up, my dad told me when I was probably 5 years old, you bait your own hook, daughter. So I grew up with a dad and a brother that fished a lot, but my first salmon that I caught really got me into it. And then, that turned into, I need to catch a steelhead and halibut, and I want to catch one of everything now. So it is intimidating. It really is. And, I've always been a party of one. So calling up different boats and saying, hi, I want to, I just want to fish. And you walk onto this boat, especially, your first overnight tuna trip or something. And you walk 30 people on the boat, and all the guys are wondering, who's she with? Because I ride solo a lot. So, but the more you do it, you definitely get more confident, and it gets easier and more fun. And you realize that there's a lot of support out there too, for men and women. Women support each other tremendously in the industry, but there's a lot of men. Some want to mansplain, I guess is the word. A lot of them truly want to also, they're intrigued, they want to know, wow, where'd you come from? You're just walking on this boat by yourself, and they want to know what your story is and how you got started. And they help too, I'll always accept help.
Yeah. That's cool. Cause I was curious about how much sort of negativity or chauvinism or any of that you've encountered. I've seen, at least firsthand, at least the small time that I've been around Kylie in Alaska, that everybody was pretty supportive. But have you guys encountered some sort of just, douchey dude who's, hey baby, you don't know how to fish, let me show you how to fish? I can't imagine that hasn't happened at some point.
Never.
So.
I actually have one specific memory that stands out in my head. I had just moved to college, so I was a freshman in college in a new town, and I just started fishing the Yakima River, and I had no idea what I was doing. It was totally different fishing from anything I had done at home. And I asked these guys that were waiting in the river, oh, what works? And they turned and looked at me, and this is fly fishing only, and they said, worms. And I said, oh, like San Juan's? And they just turned and looked away. And I was so offended, but I got over it. That's the only really negative things I've had. I've had a lot of support.
Hey. I mean, come on, people.
I
hate to even hear that. That's embarrassing as a male of the species. But what's interesting and sort of non-traditional in Kylie's case, at least, is as I understand it, your dad's not the fisher of the house as far as your parents go. It's your mom, because when I first met you, you were a guest in Alaska at the lodge I was working at, and that you eventually got to, and we'll get to that. But you and your mom showed up, and we're like, I wonder if it's her dad not around. It's just such a normal thought, because it's such a traditional way of thinking, and it was cool to like, no, it's my mom who fishes. Like, oh yeah, of course. Why wouldn't that be the case? But it's just still sort of out of the ordinary, it seems. But hopefully that's changing with your guys' cruise. So, and then has your mom, Kylie, always been into fishing?
Yeah, her dad is big into fishing, and he had a house on the coast forever. So she grew up on the boat. She used to tell me she'd go out and read a book in the cabin while Dad was driving the boat out to salmon fish.
That's cool. So the Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation had a survey or a study a while back, and one of the things they asked women anglers was, what are the top 4 or 5 reasons that you like to fish? You guys want to take a stab, Kat, at the number one answer that women had for why they like to fish?
My number one answer is that for that moment that you have that fish on, you're not thinking about anything else in the whole wide world. And it's different, in the ocean, it's that thrill of not knowing what you're going to pull up. in the rivers with a fly rod. You have to, make sure that you're watching every strip, every move, and you literally kind of build that relationship with this fish. And all you can think about is get that fish in the net. All I want, just get the fish in the net so I can jump and scream. But
well,
my number one.
you kind of hit it on the head, really. Now let's what would be your guess, Kylie, on why women like to fish as far as this survey goes?
My audio did cut out for a second, so could you repeat?
Oh yeah, no problem. Sorry. I was just wondering what you thought maybe the women answered as their number one reason they like to fish.
I'm not married, but I'd say to get away from their husbands.
Excellent. I think that works both ways sometimes. So I think you're both right, actually, in not so many words. The number one reason women, according to this Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation study, the number reason they like to fish is to unwind and spend time with family and friends. So, I mean, that the unwind fits your description, Kat. When you got that line peeling off the reel, you're not thinking about anything. You're not stressing, right? So you're chilling. And then, so then number two was spend time in the outdoors, and on and on. Well, it's funny. The number 4 reason that women like to fish, according to the survey, is to actually catch fish. And the number one reason dudes like to fish is to catch fish. So I think you guys have a definitely a better kind of concept of the sport than the males. And that's, I don't know, it's hard to categorize that for everybody. But I know in my angling career that initially all you want to do is catch fish. And then I think as you get more into it, and it looks like the women already understand this inherently, but it took me longer to figure it out. But now it's the spending time with friends and family, just seeing something new. And hey, if you catch a fish, cool. I mean, that's obviously not the case when I'm guiding. That's a whole different deal. But when I'm just out, just fun fishing, it's catching a fish. I mean, obviously you always want to, but it's not what makes or breaks your day, right? So again, I think by the number one answer of the women in the survey shows that the ladies have got this whole game figured out way ahead of us. But sorry, go ahead, Kat.
Oh, I was just saying, catching is the bonus, and being outside and on the water, whether it's a river or the ocean, is, it's always about the experience and not knowing what you're going to see. And there's so much more to it than just catching.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's see, we got a few comments here. Let's see what folks are saying. So Tony Davidson says, loves to see strong women out, especially angling. So that's cool. I agree. And, I've been seeing, I'd say an uptick over the last several years of women out on my boats guiding. And I tell you what, I'm glad that number of women is growing in the fishing industry. I don't know, it's no offense to all the smelly dudes in camo out there, but it's just nice to have a different, I think maybe, and it's just kind of coming to me now, maybe it's that whole thing about how women seem to inherently enjoy the overall experience, not just the catching part. And maybe that's why it's such a breath of fresh air to have the females on the boat. It's just, I always look forward to it. It's nice to have, I don't know, it just breaks it up. I mean, I got kind of, it's just dudes most of the time. So having some ladies on the boat, it's fun for me. So let's see, what else we got here? Let's see, Russell James, he's tuning in from Pennsylvania and want to hear from Kat and Kylie. Oh, so I think that meant shut up to me earlier. Okay. Sorry, Russell, I talked too much. What else we got? Mr. Williams, I'm an old dude. My number one reason for fishing is just to be out there. Yep. Well, now here's one of my favorite lady anglers, Julie Jewell. She just wants to catch fish. And that's no joke. She is a machine. She's a machine. Oh, so here's here's someone you know, Kylie, just since we got a few comments here. Dale Milam, who fished with me up there last year, was it? I don't know. Years are swinging. Wants to know if you're going back to Togiak River Lodge this year.
No.
Aww.
I got a message from Jordan this morning asking, and I've been so back and forth about it, but with grad school coming up, I just don't think I can make it happen this summer.
Yeah, that's disappointing. I talked to Dale the other day, and Dale's one of the guys that works up there, and he's like, I almost don't want to go because Kylie's not going. So you certainly will be missed up there, and hopefully maybe that is not a permanent thing that you won't be there. But but I was gonna hold on. I was gonna show people that you guys are legit. Let's take a look at a couple random fishing photos here. So here we have Kai with some beautiful coho in Alaska, and so Kat, I know you're into salmon. Whoops, I didn't get the border on that one, but it's a very nice steelhead you have there. And as I understand it, you fish with probably the worst, most evil fishing guide on the planet, Mike Stottlemyre.
I was just talking about that last night, actually, saying that one of my favorite days of fishing was actually the first time I ever fished with Mike Stottlemyre. We were talking about river salmon fishing. I was talking to a friend on the phone last night, and we were talking about river fishing salmon, and I was telling him the story of I took a girlfriend who I was trying to introduce to fishing and get her to be my fishing buddy, because I'm always trying to, these days I have a lot of wonderful girlfriends that love to fish, but years ago, I was always just a solo, like I said, and trying to find a fishing girlfriend that loved it as much as I did. So I would take all my friends, and they did love it. But that particular day, it was on the Klamath, and we both had at least 20, 25-pound fish on at the same time. And hers went one way and mine went the other. And Mike said, hold on to your fish, Kat. We're going to get hers. And we went and got hers, and I held on to that fish, and we both landed them, and we saw a bear. It was just one of the best days on the water. We probably caught, I don't know, we probably lost count at 40 fish or so.
Oh, wow.
But, it's meeting people like that and having those experiences that take you to the next person, and then next thing you know, you're in this wonderful community and in the industry, meeting people, and it's just so exciting. And that's a great day with Mike. That's funny.
Well, and I obviously tongue in cheek call him a rat bastard because he's one of my good friends, and he's a very excellent fishing guide, and you should definitely go fishing with him if you guys want to fish up on the North Coast for steelhead. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, this is funny. This is jumping topics here a little bit too. But Dale Milam's back in. He says, I think Kylie should become a guide. Well, I guess that segues us into jumping a little ahead here. But okay, so I wanted to get into both of your professional lives, and I guess I'll do your greatest hits of fishing here in a minute, photos. But so again, when I met Kylie, she and her mom came to Alaska as customers and went fishing, and she was crazy for fishing, by the way. You could tell it was legit. And so then the next year, Kylie, that you were hired on to work in the kind of the dining area?
Yes.
Okay.
I started in August of 2017.
Okay. And so then the cool part of this story is we went, I don't know, a year or two later, time and get old, man, the days and years flow by, but next thing we know, you are running your own boat, running silver salmon trips as a guide, which I think is so cool. And I know there it must have been a little bit intimidating because you're younger than most everybody and everybody else is a dude. But I from what I know of that, it's such a good crew up there that I think all the guides, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think all the guides really were rooting for you. I know I was, and rallying the troops. Come on, you got to hire her as a guide. So I feel like you had support there, but hopefully I'm right about that. But how was that? I mean, going from guests to working in the kitchen and the dining room to all of a sudden I'm driving a boat taking customers out. That must have been so thinking cool.
Yeah. It was definitely like getting thrown to the wolves at first. It was very intimidating, but it's ended up to be one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever had. I did have so much support. The cool part was being up there for 2 years, and so I really got to know the crew, and I got to know the returning clients, and so it just was an easy transition for me because I already knew the program. And yeah, I am so thankful for all of the help that I had and the support from the guys, because I could not have done it without you guys. That's for sure.
Well, we all knew, all secretly went, oh crap, Kylie's such a nice person that our tips are going to go down because she's going to take them all, because she's such a good angler and such a great person to be with, and we're doomed. We're going to be out of a job if she continues to do this. So speaking of that, do you any interest in you got any guiding aspirations down the road?
I just started a new job at a fly shop in Ellensburg, and they were originally this spring going to have me run some walk and wade trips for hatchery trout, and then COVID came along, so that didn't get to happen. But I would like to here and there. I have a lot going on with school and everything.
Yeah. And we will get
in the back of my mind. I miss it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we'll get back to I want to talk about your schooling here in a bit, but let me get some photos here of so that one I showed you was, I think you were guiding there. Here you are running the boat with a big old grin on your face. Here are elbowing up with, there's the grand master of all guides right there, Chris Sessions. I mean, and he was very supportive, if I recall. And there you are cleaning fish. And let's see, more coho. And I thought I had another photo. I wanted to know, let's see, that's Kat. Well, we'll get back to you, Kat. I'm getting all mixed up. There's a striper. I'm like, you caught a striper without coming striper fishing with me. I'm a little offended, but oh well, I'll get over it. So I assume that was like at Havasu or somewhere, huh?
Lake Powell.
Oh, Powell. Okay. So
Lake Powell in Utah.
So now, as far as we got it that you've guided and you are working at a fly shop. Let's bring Kat back in. What happened to Kat? There she is. So Kat, for those of you who don't know, and it looks like we have a fan of yours here, Kat. There's Russell James saying hi, known you from a long time ago. So,
hi, Russell.
So Kat works for Golden State Salmon Association, and this is kind of where this is all going to start tying together, besides the fact that they're just kick butt anglers themselves. But both of them are in the conservation into things. And why don't you give us, Golden State, Freudian slip. It used to be Golden Gate Salmon Association. Now it's Golden State Salmon Association. And it is an outfit that I've been involved, in a lot of those meetings and with your boss, John McManus. And they're doing amazing things. They're basically trying to, I know I read the mission statement a couple years ago, but I'm paraphrasing here, and it's, you guys are just trying to support and enhance the salmon fishery in outside the Golden Gate and inside the Central Valley for economic and social benefits, basically, right? So I mean, it's kind of on the right lines, right?
Economic, recreational, commercial, environmental, cultural, and health. There's a lot in there. So there's a lot of background. We like to cover all of the, there's 23,000 jobs that depend on salmon. So it's all across the board, and from recreational to commercial to, your local tackle shops and health, of course.
Right. And so you guys are involved in multifaceted approach. I know that a lot of it has to do with, I know John in particular is involved in a lot of policy stuff. He's always in meetings doing that kind of, meeting with the big wigs. And then you got projects up in the river. You've got projects down in the bay. I mean, it's cool. It's really between that and the NorCal Guides Association. I think those are the two organizations that really have made some headway. Before GSSA came along, everybody was so fragmented, and it's really cool that you guys and our organization as well seem to have all kind of got a group hug going. Used to be that the commercial anglers didn't like the sport guy who didn't like this guy, and it was like, wait a minute, time out, guys. We all want the same thing here. And I think that's, which is more fish. And everybody has little bits, little different ideas and differences and all that. But I think that's where your organization has really, really done a great job in kind of bringing the circle in the wagons, getting the troops together. And the only way we win any of these fights is if we're all joined together.
Exactly. GSSA, to sum it up, it's habitat restoration, hatchery reform, and hydrology. So it's kind of the 3 H's that we focus on a lot. And, GSSA is one of the very few that are actually out there fighting and in the front lines for water policy. And that's a huge part. And obviously, my boss is the one to talk to about water policy and, the politics and the projects that go along with that. I know I'm learning more and more every single day. I ask him so many questions all the time because I just want to be informed because it's so interesting, but it's also like Greek. I mean, there's a lot of acronyms. There's a lot of, when you get into water policy,
NEPA, CEQA, FERC, all that stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot behind that. And, fortunately, I like to see the big picture and kind of, my title is the events coordinator and executive assistant. So I do get to sit in on those science committee calls and hear about all the great projects that we're working on and how many fish it's going to put into the ocean if we can complete this project, or, I'm writing or sending out press releases and doing the behind the scenes administrative work, which teaches me a lot about the water policy that I had no idea about. I'm not from California, but I've been here for 10 years actually now. And I like to think that I've, after especially being in the organization, that I'm learning so much more about the big problem. And the big problem is that fish need water.
Yeah, and we could go on for days on that. We have these people that, especially the water contractors to our south here in California, and I won't get too much on my pedestal, but you open the can of worms a little bit here. So just on that note, fish need water, right? So
yeah, we'll leave it there.
In a nutshell, what is happening in California is the Sacramento River estuary, Delta river system, bay, all that is getting dewatered, and a lot of that water gets shipped to Southern California, or not necessarily Southern California, but into the farmlands down south, and nobody's going to argue that we need, or that we don't need food. I mean, that would be silly, but the water exports continue to increase, and what they say down there is it's the striped bass, the non-native striped bass, that are eating all the salmon and causing the problems, which again, I'll never deny that striped bass eat salmon. That's simply not true. They definitely love salmon, but if you look at, and this gets back to your original point, that you look at the trends, striped bass, salmon, delta smelt, sturgeon, steelhead, everything's trending in a downward way very sharply. And to me, the only common denominator there is water, which is exactly what you're saying. If you had striped bass skyrocketing and salmon going down, okay, well, maybe you got a thing. But it's, as you know, it's a big sort of end-around diversionary tactic, right? And then that's the stuff you guys are fighting. And boy, like you say, it's almost worse than Greek. It's confusing, and there's so many layers of stuff going on. So I imagine it's been a quite an education for you.
It has. I told John when I started, well, he told me first, he said, Kat, eventually you'll get your PhD in this. And I told him, I was like, John, I'm in kindergarten in the West area. I can plan an event for 500 people with my eyes closed, but I have to re-listen to science committee or board meeting minutes over and over. And I'm like, wait, what did he just say? Wait, what? Who did this? And the states and the feds? I thought this was a state issue, but it's really a federal. And, all of that is just, that's definitely something that's a whole nother show for you, JD.
Oh, yeah. I mean, geez, it'd drive you crazy. So that's a nice segue to conservation and let's bring Kylie back in. Kylie is finishing. This is your senior year, right? At what is it, Central Washington? And she is going on to grad school in some sort of fisheries. I mean, that's what I don't know if you've declared that or have you, but I know one of the things you talked about was maybe doing grad school in salmon stuff, but dam removal in particular. Is that right?
Yeah, so I've done my 4 years of undergrad in environmental science, and it's really cool to hear Kat talk about her job because I've really been interested in like the water resources classes I've taken and the policy and law behind it. It's totally like another language. And so my graduate program is cultural and environmental resource management. So the first thing that comes to mind to me when I think of cultural and environmental resource is salmon, especially in Washington. So I would like to do some sort of habitat restoration and population management research. I still need to narrow it down. This was kind of a adventure for me, a new decision I made, but I'm really excited about it. And it's something I'm really passionate about. It's something I enjoy learning about.
Yeah, that is so cool. We need more of that out there. Obviously, because I mean, it's good job security, right? Because they're not building any new habitat particularly, so everything's going downhill. And so I just think that's awesome. And it's the old saying that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, and you've got that passion and desire to do it. So I mean, I'm all in. I think that's super, super cool. Speaking of salmon, I guess, look who's saying hi, Patty from Togiak. Well, formerly of Togiak, Patty and Larry in Oregon. I guess they're not in Togiak now anyway, but and then I guess this is for you, Kat. You're a superstat. I think that's supposed to be superstar, but you can be a superstat too.
I don't know who that is. Oh, I do. Oh, that's great.
Actually, Kat the superstat sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll take it.
It's Aunt Kathy. That's it.
That's great.
And then we got another comment here. The comments are rolling in. Let's keep them going here. So that's from Jennifer Lipton. So one of
That's
you know.
my advisor for school.
Oh, cool. All right. So and then back to Dale Milan really quick. He says we need more people like these two. I agree, and that's why we're having them on. It's so cool. Now, before I forget, Kat, you didn't get your moment of glory here in the fish picks. So we gotta throw some Kat fish picks up. So, well, we just talked about your work. So here you are, hard at work, signing people up, getting the getting the people to donate and join the organization. And I don't know where that is, some outdoor thing. I know I see at the Sportsman's Expos and all that all the time. The crab feed, which was epic, by the way. Oh my God. We had a crab feed this past, when was that? That was January, I guess. Fundraiser for Golden State Salmon Association. And the crab, I mean, if you're gonna go to a crab feed, don't go to the crab feed. Well, you can, but my preference would be to go to the crab feed held by the people in the fishery organization, because they know all the crabbers. And so the crab came, oh my gosh, it was so good. I'm sitting at the table next to Brian Lang, who's the owner of the ISE show, and I'm in a zone. It's all you can eat crab, and it's like piled this high, and I'm not listening to conversation. I'm just, I mean, Dungeness crab is just the nectar of the gods. And all of a sudden I kind of look up and I'm kind of glance around the room, and I'm like, holy smokes, am I the only one eating crab still in this whole room? And then I look over and Brian Lang's still eating. I thought, well, if the boss is eating, I'm good. But I mean, like, hey, you want dessert? Why would I eat dessert? I got crab. So anyway, a thumbs up for that. Here's a beautiful Golden Gate Chinook on what boat's that on? Do you remember?
Yeah, absolutely. That's on the Gate Crasher.
Oh, Gate Crasher. Right. Cool.
Annie, actually, that was Annie's fish, but we all got limits that day. It was an awesome day on the water. Angler West TV was there with us.
Oh, cool. Let's see. Oh, what else do we got here? I got some more pictures of you. I got them all mixed in though here. Oh, here's a cool one. That looks like maybe Redding or something. Rainbow fly fishing.
You know it. That's exactly what that is.
And then this one, oh, never mind. I see the background. That's the Trinity River. I was going to ask you if that had anything to do with your debaucherous 40th birthday party in Arkansas.
No, that's the other big brown trout.
Yeah, that's apparently a legendary event, but we won't press you on the details on that.
I'll tell you, that brown trout in that picture, I worked for 3 days to catch that fish, though, and those brown trout on the Trinity River are finicky, and I wanted one so bad. And I think, brown trout and steelhead on the fly, there's nothing like it.
Oh yeah, and I think Kylie would agree with that. She's a big fly angler too. I've got I missed one picture, and I think this is a fly rod pick, right, Kylie? I don't know where that is.
Yep, that's in Central Washington.
That's a beautiful rainbow.
Beautiful one, Kylie. I love it. Nice.
So we had a question here.
Thank you. Story.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. The story behind that fish, I actually crashed my truck on the way to go fishing that morning on ice.
Oh, no.
And I still went.
I love it. I love it. That's dedication right there. So Julie asks, what are your favorite fish to target? So since Kylie, you're on the screen, we'll go first with you since we have all these audio funkiness. So go ahead, and then we'll ask Kat the same thing.
That's a hard one. I have a soft spot for coho, that's for sure. But trout are up there too. I do love my rainbows.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Kat, what's your favorite fish to chase?
Well, if I'm going to eat it, obviously, I'm supposed to probably say salmon, but it's one of my favorite. However, I really do love brown trout and steelhead with a fly rod. It's too. It's just top between the big fighting fish and the best fly fish. So both. all of the
Cool. That's very cool. Unfortunately, we're getting a little bit of weird audio there, but that's
Did we lose it?
par for the course. Let's see here. Jess wants to know. Oh boy, 40 details, please. We won't make you that, but you ladies are so cute, smart, and saving the planet. Well done. That's very nice. We got some more comments for you guys here. Lori Lucas, Kylie, you're a rock star. Love, Auntie.
Oh,
My fan club.
Yeah, I know. Let's see. Okay, so I don't know if this is appropriate either, but Kat, you have a great crab story?
I'm sure most have seen the video of me getting bit by the crab.
Oh, yes. I have
The crab.
heard that one. So,
serious.
yes.
It's so hard to be serious and promote, local fishermen and getting fish from your local retailers and boats during this time especially, and that crab pinched me and I was so not expecting it. My finger was like literally, and you'd think I never held a crab before. It was kind of a priceless video. It took some persuasion to post it on social media, but I finally said, all right, fine, do it.
That's funny because my buddy Riley has a story of us in Alaska, and I don't like creepy crawl. I mean, I love crabs, but I don't like snakes, bugs. He's one of those guys that loves to play with everything. He'll grab a snake by the tail, and hold it up and mess with you like that. And so we went crabbing, and he's like, "Here, sort the crabs for the size." And I was like, "I'm none of those." So I appreciate the fact that in that video you held it together pretty well, actually. So
Thanks.
That's pretty cool. Let's see here. We got some more. Oh, you guys got lots of fans. I want to go back here. Did we do this one? Jennifer Lipton. Did we already? I don't think we did that one. There's another one for Kai. And then I saw a cool one back here that we missed. And now we have. You guys have literally the most comments I've ever gotten here. And I'm having to scroll so far back through them to even see them all, which is pretty cool. So, well, here's one. This was not the one I was looking for, but this one I missed too earlier. So this is Tracy Mack. She's a angler up there in Humboldt County who's hardcore into it too. And she's getting back to the why you fish. And she's right. So guides say we're lucky. Speaking of women, I say it's because we listen and have soft touch. I agree with that 100%. I tell guys all the time, after a day of fishing, like, you know what? The woman in the boat kicked her husband, boyfriend, whoever it was, but so bad. And it's usually because and I think it gets back to what we were talking about earlier, that you're just enjoying. So it's not that big a deal if you catch a fish or not. So you're just having a good time. And you'll pay attention, and the dude thinks he knows everything, and he doesn't listen at all. And lo and behold, who catches the most fish? Now, the interesting thing about that is a lot of times I see the guy go home and he's grumpy about it. I'm thinking, dude, your woman outfished you. That's great. Why? I mean, you should be stoked. And sometimes they are, but the ones that get grumpy about it, if you ever want her to fish with you again, you should be high-fiving, not being all grumpy. But oh well, some guys just don't get it, whatever. And so on that note, I was going to ask you guys, would it be important or would you care as far as a significant other? Would you want a significant other who was as hardcore into fishing? Or like my wife, she likes to fish, but I mean, she's not going to do it on her own. She doesn't have that much interest in it, but she'll go out, and when the kid and I are fishing, she'll throw a cast every once in a while, and she's really actually very good at it, but it's not a passion for her. And it kind of works because we have our own thing, right? So if I got a fishing trip with the boys, and she can go do her, ladies trip with her girlfriends, and it sort of works. But What would you think? I mean, would you want somebody as crazy and efficient as you are, or do you think maybe having a little balance there? Go ahead, Kylie, since you're right here next to me. Go ahead. Put her on the spot. Sorry.
That's kind of a hard one. I don't really think about it that much. It's definitely on my mind. Like, I like having someone that's as diehard into it as I am. So then it's never a question of like, oh, can we go fishing? It's like, okay, we're going fishing. And so that's fun. But yeah, I guess it's important to me.
Yeah, cool. Kat, what do you think?
I used to think it was really important.
Yeah.
And I enjoy, I enjoy having somebody who, loves to do what I do. But these days, I think I'm kind of going the opposite direction. And I'm like, I kind of just like it that it's my thing. And, it's kind of the odds are good, but the goods are odd, if that's okay.
Love it. That's funny. So, Kylie, looks like when you get back into guiding, we have a customer for you. Christian Hayes, who is one of my good friends in high school, would love to do a trip with you sometime with his daughter, which is awesome because then we're getting the next generation in. So I'll if you get back to fishing, I'll hook you two up, and you can take. I assume that's daughter Margaret, but we've kind of kids grow so fast I can't keep track of them all anymore. But so anyway, if you get back to guiding, we'll get you in on that. And so did I guess I got all your pictures in. I want to make sure I didn't leave out any of your cool fishing pics. Did we get this one in of Cat? I think we did. Oh yeah, we did. Okay, so that's cool. So what's next? Let me get that thing off of there. What are you guys up to now? I mean, Kylie, you are have you been able to fish at all? You've been in Washington, and that's been it's been a no fish zone since when?
I can't remember the day they shut it down, but we actually opened up again to fish on May 5th.
May 5th, okay.
But I haven't been able to.
And that's, you've been just too busy with school and all that, and you're still doing horse stuff too, aren't you?
Yeah. Yes, I have my horse at my parents with me. We're kind of hiding out through all this. It's just easier.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of schoolwork and taking care of him and riding a horse for a friend. So I'm busy at least, but I miss fishing.
Yeah, and I know Kat has been fishing lately. Hasn't been going so well, and she's getting a little grouchy about it, from what I understand.
I'm fiending. I've spent 2 days out there over the weekend, and I mean, there's fish all around catching. Everybody, boats around us catching fish, and we threw everything. We fished every depth. I also didn't go out the gate. I've been out in Bodega on private boats because I'm restricted. So, I'm trying to follow the rules, but I also have an addiction I need to feed.
You got a Jones going. That needs a bump. Salmon bump.
But I'm starting to question if I have the plague or something. Those salmon are definitely practicing their social distancing for me. For sure.
That's fishing. I mean, don't beat yourself up on that. That's just
and it's early.
It'll go away. Speaking of your boss, Mr. McManus, he has a question for both of you. And any tips for getting yourselves invited on a boat for a trip?
Ride solo.
Yeah, I'm thinking it shouldn't be that hard.
Right.
But, Kylie, we're getting you all kinds of trips. Here's another Brian McGinty. He's a guy. I guess he. I don't know if he's living up there. He guided down here for a long time, but he's got two daughters that want to go fishing. So we'll put up your contact info. This seems like oh, sorry, it's still talking.
And I would really like. Sorry. I want to start doing like at the fly shop. Once we can have groups gather again, I want to do like women's casting nights and like, because we used to have a Kittitas County Women's on the Fly group, and we kind of dissolved because people moved away. But I would like to restart something like that again. And even if we're not out fishing, just getting women together to talk about fishing is so much fun for me.
Very cool. Yeah, you should really do that. And be sure, give us the name of the fly shop again so people in that area can come talk to you about all that stuff.
I agree. You know, the ladies fishing trips are definitely a huge hit, and they're definitely an opportunity to offer women that chance to go out and catch fish and not have to worry about, you know, anything else except having a good time, catching fish, learning, asking questions. And the support when you have women's groups together is like, it's like nothing else. You know, on a party boat, I do a lot of women's trips, and they've become a huge hit through Golden State Salmon Association. And you know, when you're on the boat, the women are so aware of each other. You walk down the rail and it's excuse me, you know, guys just kind of trudge through there, and women are high-fiving and hugging and cheering each other on and laughing when a sea lion takes your fish instead of throwing your fishing rod on the deck, you know. So it's exciting when you have a group of women. Kylie, I want to come to your ladies casting groups, and I want to join your crew up there.
That would be super fun. It's fun to connect with people like this that just, yeah, love fishing, want to have a good time, no pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I looked online before this, and there's quite a few just all over the country, all over the internet, women's fishing groups. So if there are any ladies out there who don't live in, you know, your guys' areas, there's seems like well, everything's probably on hold right now with COVID and all that, but there's definitely quite a few groups out there. And I would look on Facebook too if you're looking for a women's group. I think that's a great way to get in because like you say, you guys had some intimidation factor when you're kind of starting off as the lone woman with all the dudes, and to kind of join a group of other women, I think would be a great way if you're just starting out to get in there without the fear factor. You can just go be comfortable and have a good time. So definitely Google that kind of stuff. And I'm sure if you want to go, if you're in the San Francisco Bay Area, Northern California area, definitely get a hold of Kat at Golden State. Golden State. Gosh, Golden State Salmon Association. And she can point you to the those women trips. Now, here's a question from David Turner, and he may have joined a little bit late. Did your mom fish? We know Kylie's is the fisher parent of the family. How about yours, Kat? You said your dad was the main angling influence.
You know, he was. My dad and my brother were both really big fishermen, but my mom is a super trooper, and she would, you know, she'll fish for sure. She actually chartered a boat and off the East Coast. And,
cool.
But you know, when I would go back to Pennsylvania, my brother and I would be out there at night bass fishing in a local pond, and she would just sit there and read her book, and she's so patient. I don't know how she's so patient with us. And you know, we're one more cast all night. And she would just be like, okay, I'm fine. I'm here. You're good. I understand. So she might not have been as avid of a fisherwoman, but she definitely encouraged it and was there to make sure that we were able to fish.
Ah, cool. So if you had a dream trip, and now I know Kylie, you've been to Alaska, so that scratches one of the bucket listers off. But let's hear from both of you. What, Kylie? Now that you've done Alaska, what's your next bucket list fishing trip? Or can you narrow it down?
Montana.
Ah,
Montana.
yeah, go do some big rainbows and browns and cutthroats.
Of course, I gotta come fish.
That's right. Hopefully we can make that happen. Hopefully that will happen. Boat ramps are opening in a couple days, so we might be okay in that. So, Kat, what about you? Any dream trip?
I actually kind of took a little advantage of the cheap plane tickets during this time, actually, and I broke the news to John today, actually, so I'm allowed to say it in public.
This isn't breaking news.
It's not anymore, but I actually a couple months ago got a plane ticket to go to Australia and New Zealand for.
Oh.
I want a giant trevally and I want some New Zealand brown trout. And
Nice.
That
sounds like a heck of a combo. Now, brown trout, I'm intrigued by that White River, and that's, I assume, where you were when you went on your birthday bash.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
How'd that go? Did you guys catch fish?
Oh, I lost count. It was incredible. It was amazing. Wow. And I did get a 25-inch brown, and it was incredible. And it's, there was a campground for sale on the river, and I thought, but then again, I'm like, wait, we're in Arkansas. Hold on.
Jeez, hold on there, Missy.
But it was actually much pricier than I expected.
Oh, really?
Arkansas too. But it was a beautiful river, and it was nonstop. And I tried a lot of different techniques that I've never tried on the fly, and I was targeting browns, but there was a ton of rainbows too. That White River, I didn't even know about it until my birthday trip, and then I found myself basing my entire trip around that river after the shenanigans before that, of course.
Yeah, well, that sounds like a place for the both of you, since you're both into the fly fishing for trout. Maybe that's an upcoming hosted women's trip in the making.
Let me know when I go to Arkansas.
Let's see, Jennifer.
Okay.
She loves fishing with Kat, so can even convince you to go for an ugly gar. There's a story there, apparently. Did you go alligator gar fishing or something down south?
I did. Yes, I tried to catch one of those damn things. I put much more effort into catching one of those alligator gar than I probably should have, but I really wanted one for a while. And why not? Right? Exactly. Let's check off all the species.
Heck yeah. The one that's kind of haunting me right now is the giant peacock bass of the Amazon on top water. I have friends that say it's awesome. Some say the bugs will drive you nuts, although, Alaska, whatever. But I don't know, something about those giant, they just look, I've never caught a peacock bass of any size anywhere. So that's definitely one for me. But there's more places to fish than time or money will allow, unfortunately. But so anyway, well, speaking of time, we're about out of time. This has been way too fast and so awesome to have you two on here, and hopefully we can catch up with y'all again. I know, let's see, we got some things here. So again, if you want to get on one of those, that's probably the best way to get a hold of you there, Kat. So if you want to learn more about saving the salmon and enhancing fisheries in California, go to goldenstatesalmon.org. It's an outstanding organization. In fact, just plop your credit card down. Let's just not mess around. Just
I like your style, JD.
What's an annual membership cost?
$35.
Oh, come on. That's almost like a spool of braid. I mean, for that, everybody should be a member just to, come on. You spend more than that in bait going out the gate on a day, or lead balls that you drop off, on the sink river. So we'll definitely get in touch with SSA now. It's so hard for me to get past GGSA, but I'll learn. And then if you want to follow Kai, she's on Instagram, Kai on the fly. With don't forget the little underscore after fly. That's the hang up right there that get you. Because apparently there's some other Kai on the fly, which I feel like is very uncool. Who could be the first Kai on the fly? That doesn't make any sense to me. But so make sure you follow her. And then if you want to get in maybe some future fly fishing trips, that's who to talk to. Let's see. Got a couple late comments here. Great interviews and discussion. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in, Jennifer Lipton. Who now? Did we determine which one of you knows Jennifer Lipton? Maybe.
She's my professor and my advisor at school. She's awesome.
That is so good. So good. I'm glad she's into it. That's awesome. And and then Dale, boy, he's stuck in the whole way. Best show. Thanks to all. Awesome. Thanks for Dale tuning in. Well, again, thank you guys so much. It's been awesome to chat with you, and we'll have to we're gonna have to organize a fishing trip. I think that's just the bottom line right here. And I think, gosh, there's something to those ladies fishing trips that I think could be expanded, and we'll see if we can't. We'll have to talk about that down the road and see if we can't. I'll do what I can to push them, and I think it's a real great concept to get more super cool women like you to back or into this game. It's just awesome. It's really cool to have you, and look forward to chatting with you two soon. So thanks so much again for coming on.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. And Kai, good luck with school. Hopefully you have a classroom to actually go to this coming year. And Kat, of course, we'll be doing, I'm sure, crossing paths at functions here in hopefully. Geez, again, this COVID-19 crap's really bumming me out. But thanks for all you do in the fisheries world and all that you're gonna do, Kylie, when you get your degree out there. So again, thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to both of you two hopefully soon. And thank you all for tuning in. It was really cool to talk to those two. They're just such just good positive vibes and good energy, So next week, 7 p.m., same bad time, same bad channel. And don't forget, if you're on the Facebook platform over here somewhere, there's a little subscribe button. And with that, I will catch up to you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.